Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the same shirt from the last video, it's because I am recording straight after. Of course, with the transfer window back opening soon, there's going to be transfer rumors everywhere. But this is a big discussion point. And this discussion point, I'll be honest, came out of nowhere. Now, it is Thomas Partey. Now, the rumors are Thomas Partey will be leaving Arsenal, and this was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Now, I actually didn't see the tweet yet, but I can see it going around on social media that Thomas Partey is due to leave Arsenal. Now, Thomas Partey is a very I don't know. I think he's a very 50-50 player in terms of the fan base. Now, 50% of fans love him, and 50% of fans, I would say, want him sold. Now, where am I on that scale? Honestly, I don't know. It depends. There's a lot of factors that that change my opinion on Thomas Partey. Firstly, let's talk about Thomas Partey. Okay, Thomas Partey, when he signed from Atletico Madrid, I remember we signed him. I think it was £50 million or £45 million. We of course activated the release clause. From Atletico Madrid. Now, I remember Thomas Partey was such a good player at Atletico Madrid. If you remember correctly, he was actually ahead of Rodri. And I remember when he played against Arsenal, he was so immense on the ball, like an athlete running up and down on the pitch. The guy was a monster. And of course, if you remember one thing, his iconic performance against Liverpool at Anfield, this guy was a monster. And when he joined us, I remember thinking to myself, this is not on the same level, but a similar level to the likes of the Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang type of signing. This is a player that is going to raise the ceiling. Now, we haven't had, I don't think we've, of course, Declan Rice, but it's been a while since we have one of those signings where we know they're coming to raise the ceiling. Now, when Thomas Partey joined, he was one of the big signings of Arteta's era. When he came, I remember his first game was against Manchester City, and it took him a few months to settle in. But my days, when this guy settled in, I was saying to myself, this guy was close to being world class when he first settled in, especially last season. This guy was destroying teams solo alone, number 6 alone. This guy was destroying teams. Thomas Partey is one of those players. I don't think rival fans appreciate him as much as Arsenal fans do, because of course we watch him every week. But he's one of those players that he just makes it look so easy. He's so calm on the ball, press resistance, so aware of everything around him, and he always has a range of passing. And one thing about him, he can break line with passes. I love Declan Rice here, but one thing I've always said about Declan Rice, his line breaking passes, he doesn't do enough of them compared to someone like Thomas Partey. But there's always been that cloud over Thomas Partey, and that is his injury. You cannot go past Thomas Partey's injury record. It is absolutely horrific. When he's come to Arsenal, I think his injury record has been like, he's only played 50% of his games since being at Arsenal. I mean, that when you consider you spend £45 million, of course now £45 million doesn't look like much, but when you're spending on near COVID season, and especially where we were as a team 8th place, that £45 million signing needs to come and bang. Okay, he needs to be playing every single game. And when he came, and when he started off so well, and the injuries coming in, you could tell right now the injuries have taken a big toll on his body, because Thomas Partey now, the last few games, I'll be honest, he athletically, I don't think he's the same player. I think he's lacked a bit of pace. I think he does sometimes. It's like he's always prone to an error. I feel like sometimes a bit of a hothead sometimes, where not as in he's going to get you a red card, but he's going to go flying into a tackle, not get sent off or anything, but completely miss the ball, or sometimes he's not aware. And it's so stupid, because I'm saying that he's not aware of the ball when only 20 seconds ago I was saying he's so aware of the ball. But I feel like, I don't know what's happened, but you can see the levels have dipped. But he's always been one of my favorite players. He was one of those players that every time he had the ball, I was so confident with. But you can tell, like, it's slowly taking a toll on him. The injuries, that many injuries, is slowly taking a toll on him. And if you remember last season, Arsenal were actually acceptable to Thomas Partey leaving. They were open to offers, but unfortunately not many offers came. I think a few offers came from Saudi, but Thomas Partey wasn't too keen on moving. But I do think this season it's more likely that he could go, considering when he's injured all the time. And one thing, if you're you can be the best player in the world, but if you're injured all the time, there's no point. You bring no benefits to the team. The best players in the world are not only good when they play, but they're always available. One thing is, availability is one of the best abilities in a player. There's no point you being a world-class player if you can only play 6-10 games a season. That's what we found ourselves to have with Thomas Partey. You know, he's playing 10 games a season right now. This season he's only played, let me try to find how many games he's only played this season, but this season, yeah, he's only played 14 games this season. I mean, that's simply not good enough. With Thomas Partey, you know, we need players, especially when we are trying to win the league. We need players to be able to stay fit, not always be injured. Because Declan Rice, you could tell this guy has been burnt out this season, and you know, it would have been helpful to have a player that can come in and replace Declan Rice. And of course, we saw Jorginho doing that, but Jorginho himself is 30 years old. You know, he is not too physical himself now. And of course, when Jorginho plays compared to Declan Rice, you're going to see a big drop off. So Thomas Partey, as good as he is as a player, you know, as good as everything I have said about him, unfortunately, you cannot ignore that injury record. And that is something we'll have to, you know, consider. For me, it really depends on whether you sign another midfielder. I do think Arsenal will sign a midfielder. But, you know, when you look at it, can you keep him as a squad player? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You can, I think, keep him as a squad player. I think you will have to manage his minutes, play him at the correct times, just like how we did with Jorginho this season. I think if we do that, I think we can keep him fit. But at the same time, you know, you can cash on him now. You can probably get £20 million with him if you're lucky, compared to if you risk him going next season. You might end up getting nothing. So it's going to be a difficult situation for us. So do you cash on him now, or do you keep him as a squad player and get another midfielder on top? Logically, you should, I think, keep him for another season, keep him as a bench player. But if that means we don't go sign a midfielder, get rid of him. Get rid of him, okay? Because, you know, the more depth we have, I think it's about time Arsenal not only raise the ceiling, but raise the floor as well. Now, if you have a Jorginho and a Thomas Partey on your bench, players that you can bring on, of course that's going to raise the floor, and it means that we can have stronger players on the rotation. So it's a difficult decision for Arsenal, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, especially Arteta, because I think you can tell Arteta is a big fan of Thomas Partey. You can see he kept him, because this season I was a bit getting frustrated at Thomas Partey. I was making in my videos where I was thinking to myself, you know, if you can't play against Bayern, if you can't give me a game against Bayern, what is honestly the point of you coming on? But here's what it is. We'll have to see what happens with Thomas Partey. But I mean, this injury record, you can't ignore it. But if he stays, I'm not going to complain too much. I wouldn't mind him being a squad player. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of Thomas Partey. Let me know if you are willing to sell him. Let me know what your comments are over his overall career at Arsenal. Do you think it's a success? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, guys, like the video, subscribe like always, comment your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys hopefully in a new video shortly. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys shortly.